I walked into the police station as a witness. Somewhere during that interview, without anyone accusing me, threatening me, or showing me a single piece of evidence, I became the only suspect. The terrifying part is, I still don't know exactly when it happened. My name is Mark. 2 days ago, a woman named Diana Whitefield was reported missing from her home in Tacoma, Washington. I knew her, not well. She was my neighbor for the past year. Polite, quiet. We waved at each other in our driveway sometimes. Yesterday morning, two detectives knocked on my door and asked if I had come down to the station voluntarily just to answer few routine questions. Standard procedure, they said. Anyone who knew her was being interviewed. I said yes. Of course, I said yes. I had nothing to hide. I had no idea how wrong I was about that. The interview room was small, a metal table, two chairs, a single overhead light humming faintly above us. Detective Hale sat across from me, mid-50s, calm eyes, a folder of papers he never seemed to actually look at. Just walk me through the last time you saw Dinah, he said gently. Take your time. I saw her Tuesday evening, I said. She was getting her mail. We said hello, and that's it. He nodded slowly, writing nothing down. Are you sure that's it? He asked. Take a moment. Sometimes there's more there than we think. I laughed a little, uncomfortable. I'm sure. Why? He just smiled, patient, and said, let's keep going. He asked me about the following night, Wednesday. I told him I had stayed home, watched TV, went to bed early. Did you hear anything unusual that night? He asked. Any sound from her house, voices maybe? I opened my mouth to say no, but something stopped me. A flash, quick and strange, passes through my mind. Dinah's porch light flickering in the dark, the sound of her screen door creaking. I I think I heard her door, I said slowly, surprised at myself. I didn't think about it until just now. Detective Hale nodded, unsurprised. That's good, Mark. That's really good. Let's keep walking through it. I sat there, confused by my own words, wondering where that memory had even come from. Each question brought something new, small pieces, sharpening slightly every time he asked me to go a little further. What were you wearing that night? A dark jacket. I didn't thought about that jacket in weeks. Why did I suddenly know that? Did you go outside at any point? Yes, for just a moment to check on a sound. I remembered cold air, grass under my shoes. How close did you get to her house? Close enough to see her porch light through the trees. Every answer felt like pulling something out of deep water, cold and unfamiliar, but undeniably mine. I looked at the detective Hale. My hand started shaking. Why do I remember all of this now? I asked. I didn't remember any of this yesterday. He leaned forward slightly. His voice stayed soft. Sometimes the mind protects us from things until we are ready to face them, Ma. You are doing great. Just a little further. What happened when you got to her porch? He asked. My chest tightened, my mouth went dry. I don't think I got that close, I said, my voice shaking now. Take your time, he said, always so calm, always so patient. You already know, Mark. You just have to let yourself say it. I gripped the edge of the metal table. My knuckles went white. I knock her door, I whispered, the word coming out before I even understood them. She opened it. She looked, surprised to see me there so late. Detective Hale didn't write anything down. He never had, this entire time. He just watched me, steady and unblinking, waiting. What did she say to you? He asked quietly. I closed my eyes. She asked me why I was standing there in the dark. I said. She asked me what was wrong with me. I put my head in my hands. My breathing ragged. I don't understand what's happening, I said. I didn't do anything. I didn't. I wouldn't. You are almost there, Hale said. His voice hadn't changed once this entire time. Steady, gentle, endlessly patient. Just tell me what happened next. I don't want to say it, I whispered. You already know it, he said. You have known it since Tuesday night. You just built a wall around it so you could keep living your life on the other side. I looked up at him, tears in my eyes, my whole body trembling. Why does it feel like I am remembering someone else's life? I asked. For the first time, something in his expression shifted. Not surprise, but something closer to sadness. Because you needed it to feel that way, he said, just for a little while longer. I turned to look behind me, needing air, needing anything other than that question hanging in the room. And that's when I saw it. The door of the interview room was slightly open. Beyond it wasn't a hallway full of officer and desks. It was a narrow, dim holding cell. Bare concentrate walls, a single coat stainless steel sink, a scratched mirror. I turned back to Detective Hale. The chair across from me was empty. There had never been anyone sitting there. I looked down at my own reflection in the polished metal table, and for the very first time, I understood the voice I had been hearing this entire time hadn't belonged to some calm, patient detective across from me. It was mine. I had been sitting alone in a holding cell for 2 days, ever since officer found me standing in Dinah's living room Wednesday night, unable to explain why I was there, unable to explain the porch light I had scattered getting inside, unable to explain why Dinah hadn't answered when they called out to her. My mind had built Detective Hale out of nothing, a calm, steady voice separate from my own, because the version of me capable of walking up to my neighbor's porch that night wasn't someone I could look at directly, not yet. So I split myself into two, the terrified man asking questions, and the version of me that already knew every answer, patiently walking myself towards the truth I wasn't ready to say out loud. There was no interview, there had never been. There was only me, alone in the cell, finally listening to myself confess. I turned back to the mirror bottle to the wall, and just for a second, I saw my own reflection lean forward, calm and steady, and one final question. Now that you remember, you are ready to tell them what happened to Dinah? I don't know if I answer. I don't know if I ever will.